They wanted a quality victory. Do this against the Spurs. Show me you can beat a good team. Hey, the Knicks showed today, when they are on their A game, they are as good as any in this team. And as I said, man, you know, this one got a little tricky. Got off to a little tentative start because the Wemby factor loomed large early in this game. You know, Hart was kind of tentative in there, and the Knicks are kind of scared to go inside. But shout out to Captain Clutch, Jalen Brunson. He set that tone, 11 straight points to close out the first quarter, and really kind of just allowed him to just take a back seat as everybody else would get it in. As I said, the player of the game, Mikal Bridges, was excellent, especially from the corner threes, but we got some good mid-range action from Mikal Bridges. And then his defense, man, 5 steals for Mikal. I mean, you want to start there because, you know, everybody talked about the inconsistencies of the Knicks wings, but I thought Mikal Bridges was brilliant today. He deserves a lot of credit for this one today, man.
Phenomenal play by Bridges, man. I mean, you know, before I even really discuss Bridges, hell of a statement win by the Knicks. I don't care that they beat them in the NBA Cup. What I wanted to see is how they responded after losing on New Year's Eve, man. What I wanted to see is how they responded with the whole 40-20 conversation going on, where you got to win 40 games before you lose 20 games, right? What I wanted to see was that were these guys going to come out here and play defense against a team that was on an 11-game winning streak, and they did just that, man. They came out here, and when it started to look a little dicey in the beginning, New York just clamped up and said, stop. Mikal Bridges, man. Let's talk about the guy who was just phenomenal from the court tonight. I mean, damn, 10 of 17. 5 of 9 from downtown. I mean, for a while, it didn't seem like he could miss a three, but the way that he was just moving off ball, CP, the way that he was getting steals and attacking out in transition, we were asking, can this man finish through contact? Man, he got a poster in transition. How about that? Mikal Bridges, man. Look, when guys like this play consistently and play aggressive, this team can reach new heights, man. This is not surprising, right? We just asked for this to be consistently done on a night-to-night basis. And when you have those conversations about why are you not a top 10 offense, top 10 defense, which translates to being a championship caliber team, why not can you get to 40 wins before 20 losses? Well, that leads to consistency, you know, buying into the identity that you are and doing this on a night-to-night basis. If Mikal does this on a night-to-night basis, on a day-to-day basis, we're not having questions, man, on what team do we have here. And this is not just for him, it's for everybody else. We're not having questions what this team looks like if guys like this play aggressive and play to their strengths. And look, I'm not the biggest fan at sometimes where he drives and fades away, but he was hitting everything tonight, man. He was just completely locked in today.
Had that shooter's bounce, as our friend Stephon Marbury would say. And speaking of, and shout out to Mikal Bridges, an absolute thief, as I said, with the 5 steals on top of that. I thought his defense was as good as his offense today. And, hey, everything was dropping. Once the corner threes were falling, then he got into his mid-range game, and everything kind of just flowed from there. So, once again, excellent job from Mikal Bridges. But as I mentioned, the captain, Jalen Brunson, absolutely set that tone because when the Knicks were trying to figure out the Wemby puzzle, remember the Pistons couldn't do it last week, Knicks were trying to figure it out early. This is when big-time players need to step up. Your tough shot makers need to step up, and Jalen Brunson did just that, man. 11 points in that first quarter. He finishes with 24 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, they cap, 7 of 16 from the field, 4 of 7 from downtown, and doing it against a stingy Spurs defense, man. How about Cap really setting that tone, especially in the first quarter?
Man, we needed answers, man. This team needed an answer because it was getting dark very early, man. You know, we're about to hit next week where it's about to be daylight savings time, man. We're about to lose an hour. But yeah, the way they were playing, damn. Nevertheless, you got Jalen Brunson out here where he just, you said it, he was the answer. Literally the answer for this team to get it going. And this is what you need from your superstar players, where guys are not hitting their shots, guys are just not getting into rhythm. You got to look to somebody to get a bucket. And look, give credit to Brunson because there's been a lot of conversation now saying he's a ball hog, right? He's not passing the ball enough. You know, is he really a playmaker? He's just a chuck at times. Well, this is why he is who he is, man. We needed answers offensively. We needed somebody to get a bucket, and he got you buckets. And from there, the defense had to shift, saying we got to try to stop Brunson. And what did that do? It opened it up for everybody else. And I feel like when we discuss what a playmaker is, CP, we forget the aspect that a playmaker just doesn't have to be a guy that facilitates, all right, and just draws defense. A playmaker is also somebody that can score to help open it up for everybody else. Because if he's attracting the double, triple teams, then what does it give? It gives opportunities to Mikal Bridges to just fly all over the place and get open looks. Same thing with Landry Shamet. Same thing with OG, just getting put back dunks, right? That's what you ask from your captain. That's what you ask from your superstar player. And then he did just that today, man. So phenomenal job by Jalen Brunson. And look, for a guy who had a great outing against Milwaukee, shaky games prior to that, seemed like he was just out of rhythm, doing a little too much.
Yeah.
Today was a great balance for him.
But we got to go to our next role play of the game, and that is Cool Mo D, Mohamed Diwara, ladies and gentlemen. Following the 10-point outing against the Bucks, Mo is back. 14 points, 5 of 14 from the field, only 4 of 13 from 3, but every damn 3 he took was looking good. Shout out to Mo for snapping the nets, man. 1 steal, 1 block, and it was just like, look, the Wemby factor, you're trying to take away certain things, and so you're going to let certain things fly. They try to disrespect our guy Mo in this one, and our guy Mo made him pay, shooting from all over the court, the corners, the elbow, top of the key. Great job by Mo Diwara today, man. He's back. This Mike Malone said in the telecast, he said, I feel bad for Jeremy Sohan. Yeah, the Sohan experiment, thanks for coming. You have a seat and watch. Maybe you get some time in the G League next year. It's Mo's time. Wingstop
talk about G League.
And Mo. Let's go.
Hey, and look, earlier on, let's not forget what Mike Malone was saying early on in the broadcast to Ryan Rucco. He was like, well, you brought in Sohan here because, you can go back and forth between Mo Diwara and then Jeremy Sohan. And then what he say? He's like, well, just give it to Mo Diwara.
Just give it to Mo.
Just give it. And this is why when you asked me, should we go out and get Sohan the day before they got Sohan, I'm like, I like what Mo's giving us, man. And look, this is your second round pick.
Yeah.
CP, we talked about it when we saw him out there in Summer League. He was the one that stood out the most from everybody else. The aggression, lack of fear. The one thing we said, hey, the shooting has to come around, which it has. And that's why he's getting more minutes. Just even while he still continues to learn the defensive principles, the offensive principles, where he needs to be, right? You see that the stuff that you can't teach, the height, the wingspan, he's using it to his ability, man. Yep. Even where he's not getting blocks, even where he's not getting steals, he is deterring guys from making a move. Just like how Mitchell Robinson guards the paint and the perimeter, he's doing the same thing being a wing. And if he's knocking down threes, and look, I know he went 4 of 13 from downtown today, but a lot of those shots were good, man. We're just talking about ins and outs. It's literally ins and outs.
Yeah.
If he becomes a consistent three-point shooter, he's a lock. He's an absolute lock. We're not even having a question of, do we need to go out and find somebody? He would be an absolute lock. But the way that he's playing, man, that's what also stopped the Spurs today. I mean, earlier on the season, he wasn't being utilized like this. Now, with the way that he's playing, we talk about like a Christian Braun situation where, hey, a rookie, second rounder at that. This could be a guy that gives you big playoff minutes where you're saying, hey, we got to go against Detroit. Well, throw out Mo Diwara, man. He's got wingspan. They got a lot of tall guys out there. Maybe you can even throw him on Cade for a little bit in short spurts, saying if we don't have OG or Mikal out there. What he just offered today, man, is what should be. This should be an end to saying, hey, even when he's having a bad game, he shows you that he gives you a lot of good and why he should continue to earn minutes. And I know it was just 15 minutes today, but those 15 minutes were more impactful than anything else.
Very impactful. And the thing that you have to like about him is that he continues to play make quick decisions every game. He's looking more and more comfortable in his offense. And as you mentioned, a guy like a Cade, maybe it's a Jalen Brown. Look, Wingstop is going to have their hands full when it gets to the playoffs, whoever they have to see, whether it's Mitchell and Hart. And, you're going to have to throw these guys out there. And, hey, maybe even a Sohan further down the road, depending on how guys get into foul trouble and things of that nature. So, the way that they'll be able to deploy Mikal, OG, at times Hart, but more importantly, Mo, Wingstop getting that depth and him making quick decisions out there where you can trust him, especially on the offensive end, it's going to be huge for this team. He looks fantastic. And like I said, 4-13 from downtown, even the misses almost
they
dropped.
were looking good.
Even the misses almost dropped, man. So great job. segment as we segue to the key stats of the night, brought to you guys by Prize Picks. Hey, the three-point shot, man. Spurs shot 26% from downtown to 35 for the Knicks. Knicks shooting 44 from the field, Spurs 42. Free throw line, 58% from the charity stripe for the Knicks to 73 for the Spurs. So neither one trying to win it. When it came for free, they were trying their hardest to do it the tougher way. 54-41, great job on the boards. Knicks dominated on the boards, 54-41. Assists, 27-25. Knicks win that one. Turnovers, 14 Knicks turnovers leading to 15 San Antonio points. And conversely, 22 San Antonio turnovers leading to 24 Knicks points. Great job by the Knicks there. 23 fast break points for the Knicks, leading the 23-13. Knicks win the fast break battle. They also win the points in the paint battle, 40-38. Largest lead of the night, 26 for the Knicks, 12 for the Spurs. And Knicks led this one 79% of the time, bro. 79% of the time.
Hell of a performance, man. And look, I think my favorite one is the second chance opportunities. I mean, you talked about them battling early and Towns and even Mitch doing a good job out there tonight. Look, even Bridges and OG were getting bored. Same thing with Diwara, man. Those guys were helping as well. 22-13 second chance opportunities for the New York Knicks, man. Just a way to battle on the boards. I mean, they double digit them, man. 65-50.
Yeah.
65-50 rebounds in favor of the New York Knicks, and that translated to second chance opportunities. Way to be a presence in the paint. And look, when you have a guy like Wemby and even Luke Cornett, who's been on the rise, right, and left Boston to go out to San Antonio, to mute them and what they're known for being capable of doing, that's effort right there, man. That is grittiness and that is effort. So good job by the Knicks in those two fields tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to go with the turnovers, for sure. Forcing 22 turnovers, San Antonio turnovers, and converting that into 24 points. When you're playing one of the best defenses in the league, those are ways that can help you score. And I thought that fed into them winning on the fast break battle in 23-13. So great job by the Knicks. Mikal Bridges led that way with 5 steals. And the Knicks overall, just as a team, just really getting gritty defensively, and they out-hustled a young, athletic team. The Knicks won on that side of the ball in terms of the grit. This is what it takes to win those games against the upper echelon teams. You have a premier team in the West. Consider them the best, if you will, right now, coming in with 11 straight wins, including one in Detroit. So this was a statement win, as you said earlier, all the way around for the Knicks, but I thought their defense and their grit really, really led the way there. So good win by the New York Knicks. And speaking of winning now, you know who's winning? Prize Picks, because Prize Picks is back in New York, and you can use our code KFTV to get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. Prize Picks is giving you $50 in lineups just for getting started, and you already know what that makes every dunk, every dime, every board hit different. I've been building lineups in Prize Picks, and it's real simple. You guys, those of you guys that have been rocking with us as long as we have, and when we first were rocking with Prize Picks, you just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. So, for example, you can pick Jalen Brunson more than 24.5 points. You can pick Mikal Bridges more than 3 3-pointers. If you wanted to pick Mitchell Robinson today, if you felt like, hey, the Wemby battle might have been tough, maybe it's less than if the stat projection for rebounds was 8, maybe it's less if you wanted to go less. So you pick and choose 2 to 6 player stat projections, and then you just pick more or less on that number. If your pick's right, you cash in. And with the Knicks rolling, you know I'm looking at that Brunson number. I'm looking at the Bridges number right now as well for this week, and maybe stacking a couple of those projections in the same lineup. Now, they've got early payouts. So if your player gets off to a hot start, you can lock in winnings before the game even ends. Prize Picks is now available in all 50 states, including New York. Welcome back to New York. It's quick to deposit, withdrawals are fast and secure, and you can even follow the social feed to see what the communities are building. Once again, download the Prize Picks app today and use code KFTV to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's KFTV. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Feeling good. I thought that was a good win.
Yeah.
One of our better ones.
It felt like the energy felt good in there today, man. Felt good in there.
It did. A lot of kids in the building. It was definitely a good energy.
Yeah.
Came out a little bit slow, but I liked how the captain ended that first quarter. And I thought the defensive intensity was really good. It wasn't kind of like they settled into it. I thought they kind of really brought it from the get-go. So that was really they got up for this game because, as we've seen, they didn't get up for Cleveland. They didn't get up for Detroit, but I thought they got up for this game. So maybe it was a different message in the locker room, but I like how they came out of the gate strong. One thing I wanted to touch on, I really liked the game today from Karl Towns, but this is more of maybe a different type of question. This isn't, putting him down or anything, but for $55 million, this is not really second option production. This is like Isaiah Hartenstein. This today I thought was almost an Isaiah Hartenstein type game. Minus the playmaking, Towns only had 1 assist, but 12 points, 14 rounds, 5 and 9. That is something Isaiah was doing in 23-24. So it's just I like what he's doing, but when it comes to the playoffs, you really need that second option. But like you talked earlier, the pecking order really comes down to matchups. In a game like today when Mikal's cooking, you can afford 12 from Towns, but for your highest paid player, I think you're going to need that in the playoffs.
I agree with you 100%. And which makes the negotiations are going to be interesting when it comes down to it. And the balance is going to be interesting, especially in the playoffs. So do we see a more aggressive Karl-Anthony Towns, understanding, all right, we're playing tough for defenses, might be tough for some of our guys. Brunson, it's a tricky balance for him, but I still feel like Cap has a better switch when it comes to that, knowing, all right, these guys don't have it, I got to turn it up. Now, the Cleveland game, he didn't really do that, but other games, I've seen him do it. First quarter, for example. So, I don't know. We'll have to see with Towns, but SCG's right, Al. Karl has to be 10 times more aggressive than he is now in terms of getting his shot in the playoffs, especially when they advance in round. They're not out in the first round, but especially when they get further.
Yeah, he has to be a bona fide second option. I mean, to STG's point, he is getting paid $55 million. $55 million to do these type of numbers, when it's once in a while, you can accept it. But when this has kind of been the norm the entire season. So you need more this is what we're saying, man. We need more from Towns in the postseason. And this is why I posed the question. Do you want a more structured pecking order, or do you want something that's a little bit more free flowing? And from what we saw from the chat, it's a little it's mixed. It's a mixed bag. Ultimately, it comes down to what the coach wants and how he gets this team going. So for the tougher matchups, you're going to need Towns scoring. That's why you brought him in here. I don't care that you changed the coach. I don't care that it's a different philosophy. I don't care that other guys really have it going on nights like tonight. You're going to need Towns, okay? You cannot bring him in here and just be well, he's going to just be a rebounder for us. No, that's unacceptable, man. You trade a lot for a guy, and he's getting paid a lot. He's got to do more than that. So, and we have to utilize his strengths. We haven't really utilized his strengths either. So,
Agreed.
Mike Brown has to figure that out. Towns has to figure that out, and the teammates got to figure it out, man. It's on all fronts to make sure that he is looking at his best when it matters most, and that's for the NBA postseason.